Tonight, no tents allowed.
It's setting clear guidelines on where encampments can be overnight.
Where encampments would be banned if a new proposal clears City Hall. Also tonight, mixed reviews.
It drops me right beside my house, so it's good for me.
Now with the new routes, I'm now taking 2 buses to classes every day.
Riders are adjusting to the new transit system, but is it working? Plus, what educators and parents are doing to make sure Measles doesn't come home with the homework.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The city is one step closer tonight to adopting rules limiting where homeless encampments can be. Standing by live with the details in studio tonight is CTV's Catherine Dow. So, Catherine, the original motion was amended and is now much more specific.
Yes, it is, Marilee. The plan, which was approved by the Community Services Committee today, now lays out exactly how far away encampments should be from sensitive areas. It would ban encampments within 50 meters of playgrounds, pools, spray pads, or outdoor rec facilities designed for children, families, or seniors, as well as schools, daycares, and adult care facilities. 50 meters from rail lines and 30 meters from transit shelters, docks, or piers. As well, encampments would be prohibited on medians wherever they block vehicle or pedestrian traffic or where safety issues exist. The motion is being spearheaded by Councillor Cindy Gilroy of the Daniel McIntyre ward.
We want to make sure that we are protecting the community, especially our young kids and seniors that are using our public spaces, but also too, you know, we really do need to encourage and say to people that are unhoused, we want to make sure we get you the supports. We now have Main Street Project who's doing our wraparound services. We have shelter space. We need to just get people into shelter space and into housing, and that's what this is all about.
Now, the changes also mean tents and other shelters would only be allowed on city property from dusk until dawn as a way to respect the rights of unhoused people to sleep at night. And the motion would see the city work with community groups to ensure those living in encampments are aware of what shelter options exist.
So, Catherine, how soon could these restrictions be put in place?
Well, Marilee, the motion still needs to clear the Executive Policy Committee and full council. If and when that happens, the public service would have 60 days to report back with a formal policy.
All right. Thanks for this, Catherine.
You're welcome.
With summer vacation in the rearview mirror, students and others are riding the bus for the first time since transit switched to a new system. The promise was frequent and simplified service, but as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you tonight, the reality is proving to be mixed.
Rush hour and schools are back in full swing. It's a big test for Winnipeg Transit's new system that started rolling at the end of June.
Very frustrated about it. I also took the bus a while ago, and it was 30 minutes late here, 30 minutes late at my transfer, and then it took me 15 minutes to walk.
Phoenix Whitman is a University of Winnipeg student. He says his previous commute was 1 bus and 45 minutes long. Now
it takes 2 buses and over an hour and 15 minutes.
CTV News spoke with several bus riders. The issue most brought up was having to take more buses to get to their destinations, meaning more transfers.
Now I have to take like 3 buses, and that's kind of a struggle for me.
Now with the new routes, I'm now taking 2 buses to classes every day. It's a lot faster, which I appreciate, but it would be nice to not have to worry about a transfer or missing a bus.
Others say the new system is working just fine.
I was a little bit scared for my first year, but yeah, it gets me around and where I need to be.
Now I take the FX4 and it like drops me right beside my house, so it's good for me.
Transit has said the point of the overhaul is to improve service and update a system meant for the 1950s and 60s. The routes are now designed as a spine and feeder system. Transit says the buses on the spines or primary network in blue are frequent and direct and should get riders to places faster. The buses on the feeder routes in gray run through neighborhoods and connect to the spine, but don't go downtown or to congested areas, so they should be on time. Transit says it will be monitoring the new system and taking feedback from riders over the next year in order to make small tweaks and major changes that might be needed. Feedback about our new network is valued. We want detailed, constructive criticism about what's working and what's not. And while the riders we spoke to hope changes are coming for the better, most said They would not want to go back to the old way.
It was definitely a change, but I think it will be good for us in the long run.
Councillor Brian Mays has proposed a motion at City Hall to extend the length of time for transfer tickets from 75 to 90 minutes. Victims of last week's stabbing spree are expected to be released from the hospital in the coming days. 8 people were severely injured in 2 homes on Hollowater First Nation Thursday, including an 18-year-old woman who died. The suspect, who was the woman's 26-year-old brother, also died after the stolen vehicle he was driving collided with an RCMP cruiser who was responding to the attack. The officer was also hospitalized, and there's no updated word yet on her condition. However, RCMP previously said she was expected to survive. Today, Shared Health says one of the victims from Hollowater First Nation was discharged Sunday, and the other 2 should follow suit this week. The rest were discharged last week. The City of Winnipeg will consider acquiring some West Elmwood property to turn it into a community gathering space. The city is looking at 2 lots at the corner of Henderson Highway and Johnson Avenue. The late city councillor Jason Schreier actually came up with the idea. It was to create a community meeting space that would feature an entertainment stage, a food rescue operation, transitional housing, and eviction prevention services. The city would develop the space with the help of the Chalmers Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. Right now, the plan is still in the idea phase. The Standing Policy Committee on Property and Development will hear a verbal report on how much the idea would cost at its upcoming meeting set for Friday. All right, let's bring in Daniel Helmerson now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. What are you tracking for us tonight, Danny?
Well, much of what we saw today, light winds and fairly clear skies, a little bit overcast, but good news after a doom and gloom start to September. Plenty of sunshine on the way this week, though we will see some rain before the weekend runs around. But over the next few hours, not a lot happening, and heading into Tuesday, we should see plenty of sunshine, some fog overnight, so if you're heading out early tomorrow morning, keep that in mind, but the sunshine is going to roll. Midweek, welcome news after, again, that doom and gloom start to the month. Taking a look outside right now on the live eye, 21 degrees under partly cloudy skies, feeling more like 25. The wind out of the south-southeast at 8 kilometers per hour. The pressure is dropping and the humidity sitting at 62%.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
A 21-year-old man is facing murder charges in the death of a 46-year-old woman. Police got a call shortly after 1 Saturday morning to a condo complex in the 600 block of St. Anne's Road. Officers found 2 injured women outside. Nicole Michelin-Fortier died of her injuries in hospital, while a 27-year-old woman remains in hospital recovering from injuries. Police tracked down the suspect a short time later using dogs and the police helicopter. He's charged with second-degree murder and aggravated assault. Police say the woman who was killed and the suspect were involved in a prior relationship. Investigators determined the other victim had no connection to the suspect and was just randomly assaulted before he took off. A woman is facing charges after a hit and run left a man fighting for his life in hospital. It happened Saturday night in Dauphin. RCMP say a vehicle hit a 43-year-old pedestrian and then drove off. The man had to be airlifted to a Winnipeg hospital where police say he remains in critical condition with life-threatening injuries. Mounties arrested a 20-year-old woman from Gilbert Plains and say alcohol was a factor. She was released from custody with charges pending. The family of a university student who was fatally shot by police during a wellness check 2 years ago is demanding another investigation into the incident. A lawyer representing the family from Nigeria says the investigation didn't establish with certainty Afolabi ran at the officers who entered the suite where he was staying. Rather, they say it found there was no evidence to contradict what the officer's partner says happened. The family's lawyer says investigators relied too heavily on the officer's statements and written records and not enough on other civilian witnesses.
We had civilian witnesses. It's easy. Do you hear him run or not? And we've all lived in an apartment. Come on, we can hear when someone is running, especially that small of an apartment, right? So, I mean, that's pretty much where the family is really disappointed. They expected better.
The report by the Alberta Serious Incident Response Unit concluded the 19-year-old posed a lethal threat to the officers when he ran at them with 2 knives, and they didn't have time to flee or use a less lethal option. The officer who fired the shots exercised his right to not be interviewed for the investigation. A new debate around Portage and Main is now underway. The city is trying to figure out what it will do with the underground concourse. Keep it open or shut it down. But as CTV's Danton Unger reports, either way, it's going to cost the city millions.
It's been a year of uncertainty for Eric Chi.
I have no idea. I have no information because I still have a 3.5 years contract to go.
The owner of this Korean restaurant in the Portage and Main underground concourse says he's been left in limbo as the city figures out what it will do with the circus.
I want to know what's going to happen as soon as possible. That's it.
A new report to the city suggests a few options. Keeping the concourse open would require the city to replace a leaking waterproof membrane, costing about $27 million, along with another $30 million for work on water mains, sewers, roads, and traffic. A full decommissioning would cost $11.1 million over 17 months and would see the majority of the concourse filled in with concrete. A partial decommissioning would cost the city $9.4 million over 14 months. It would see the south side of the circus shut down, closing access to 333 and 335 Main Street. The rest would remain open. For now, the report recommends the city keep the concourse open until a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis is completed to establish the most advantageous strategic alternative.
All the options are on the table, whether we do the full repair to Portage and Main with the surface. Maybe we look at getting rid of that property altogether and somebody else wants to take it on. We just don't know at this time, and hopefully this report will get us in that direction.
Property and Development Chair Councillor Evan Duncan says it could be a while before a final decision is made.
I don't want to speculate on that, but I don't see anything happening in the next 12 months. I would see that this will be pushed out to give the public service some time for us to do the proper public consultation that we need to.
But she says even if the city does keep the concourse open, the needed construction alone will likely put him out of business.
For me, either way, I have to close.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A city survey of the 6 remaining businesses operating in the concourse found 80% oppose any sort of closure. 3 said they would have to close their businesses if the concourse was shut down, while 2 said they were unsure of what they would do. The report is set to be discussed by the city's Property and Development Committee on Friday. The province is warning of potential measles exposures at 2 health centres here in Winnipeg. The first was at Walk-In Connected Care on McGregor Street, September 3rd, between 11 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. The other was at Victoria Hospital's Urgent Care on Pembina Highway, September 5th, from 10:15 a.m. to 2:15 p.m. Anyone at those locations is asked to monitor for symptoms and avoid being around people with weakened immune systems for about 3 weeks. Well, today marks the 2nd week of school for many families in our province, but with that return comes concerns for some as measles cases are on the rise across the province, especially in the Southern Health region. CTV's Joseph Bernacki reports.
Kids are back in school, and some parents and caregivers are concerned the kids will be facing more than just tough math and science questions in the classroom. Morden resident Lisa Dick is worried about the recent rise in measles cases across the province.
It's really concerning, and I feel like it's something that is so unnecessary, that if people were having their kids vaccinated, that it just wouldn't have to be happening.
Dick says she is concerned because she knows people who are immunocompromised. Her friend's son is 7 years old and lives with leukemia. Although everyone in the family is vaccinated, Dick says her friends are constantly worried each time they leave the house over a potential exposure to the virus.
Even with friends that they would normally hang out with, just, have really been having to pick and choose.
Data from the province suggests there's a real reason to be concerned over the spread of the measles virus. A measles outbreak began in October 2024. On August 9th, there were 182 cases reported in the province. By August 30th, that number had risen to 207.
This is entirely preventable. So this isn't like a normal thing that we should expect to have to be dealing with. Those numbers are continuing to increase as a direct result of low immunization rates.
On September 3rd, the Garden Valley School Division in Winkler sent letters to parents based on back-to-school provincial protocols with the virus. If a child is exposed, they may be required to stay home for at least 3 weeks, but some may be able to return if they receive 1 vaccine dosage. Singh says the message from the province is simple.
The vast, vast majority of people who are immunized are protected, and protected for decades and decades.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Morden.
Measles cases are popping up across the entire country since October of 2024. Singh says there have been over 5,000 cases Canada-wide. A former Blue Bomber is entering the race to lead the Manitoba Liberal Party.
It's time to get together, it's time to resolve issues, and it's time to get things done.
Willard Reeves announced his bid Sunday at the Manitoba Legislature. He was named deputy leader of the party in November of 2023, but stepped down from the role a few months later. Reeves said it's time politicians from all parties work together for positive change.
We need to change the way we do our politics. We need to stop opposing everything that someone brings up and work together to get a solution. We have lots of problems here. Lots of problems. And the only way we can do it is by being together.
Reeves ran in the 2022 Fort White by-election, but lost to Abhi Khan, who is now the leader of the Progressive Conservatives. He ran again in 2023's general election, but was defeated for a second time. The newest member of Manitoba's PC caucus was sworn in today.
I, Colleen Robbins, do swear that I will faithfully and bear true allegiance to His Majesty.
Colleen Robbins was officially sworn in as the new MLA for Spruce Woods. Robbins, a former nurse and longtime Conservative Party volunteer, kept the seat blue last month with a narrow victory over the NDP.
And I'd like to also thank Spruce Woods for me having this honor to be here today, as they have given me their trust, and I am going to show them that they picked the right person.
The hotly contested Tory stronghold had been vacant since March when Grant Jackson resigned to run for the federal Conservatives.
Any public figure has no hope of protecting their voice.
A 21st century excuse how artificial intelligence could have been used to frame an Ontario politician. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil added 39 cents. The Canadian dollar rose slightly. Gold climbed $24. The TSX dropped 22 points. The Dow Jones gained 114 points, while the Nasdaq closed 98 points higher. The Association of Manitoba Municipalities is putting pressure on Ottawa to step in with funding for water infrastructure. The AMM today released the results of a probe research poll showing 8 in 10 Manitoba residents believe the feds should help pay for things like water treatment plants and sewer pipes as a way to boost housing. The group says this echoes what its members have been saying for years, that plans to address the housing crisis are being stymied by a lack of funding for water and wastewater systems.
Because there's no sense building a home if it doesn't have water in it and if you can't flush a toilet in it. So they go hand in hand, and we don't want, a one-size-fits-all funding. We want there to be specific to the needs of municipalities. And if we want to build Canada, if we want to grow Manitoba's economy, it starts with water and wastewater projects.
The online survey of 1,000 Manitoba adults took place between July 24th and August 11th. It cannot be assigned a margin of error, as the respondents were not randomly chosen from the general population. A municipal councillor in Clarington, Ontario, is claiming a threatening voice message she allegedly left was the work of artificial intelligence. It comes after a retired police officer claimed the councillor left the message on his phone telling him not to run for mayor. But as CTV's John Vinavelli-Rao shows you, Karina Trail now says she's the victim of AI cloning.
Well, Karina Trail has not yet commented on camera about the incident. In her statement, Trail now says she never left the threatening voice message in question, which this former homicide detective received on his phone in late August. In the message, someone who identifies themselves as Trail can be heard using expletives, saying he shouldn't run for mayor in next year's election.
And that if I don't, she will come to my house and kill me.
and sexually assault my wife.
Convinced it came from Trail, Tom Dingwall notified police who are investigating. Initially, Trail addressed the voicemail, in part saying it was an unfortunate circumstance she was dealing with. But in a new statement writes, "I want to state clearly and unequivocally, I did not create this message. I have been advised that artificial intelligence technology was involved. Portions of the voicemail were my voice, but other parts were artificially generated." Adding, "I have not addressed this issue until now, as we were working to ascertain the source of the message." Replicating someone's voice using AI has become incredibly easy. Often it requires simply going to a website or downloading some software and then providing a sample of the person's voice.
The tools nowadays, with around 20 seconds worth of voice, you can do an awfully good job. Any public figure, it has no hope of protecting their voice.
Clarington's mayor says because the matter is under police investigation, he can't say much. He says Trail did not appear at a council meeting this morning and that the matter has been a distraction.
It's not helpful to public's confidence in the system at all. So a distraction, yes. All-consuming, no.
Trail says she'll continue to cooperate with the investigation and that she plans to stay on as councillor. She also says she's received messages of support and wished Dingwall well in the upcoming election. John Benavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Clarington.
Headwinds ahead for Air Canada after 99% of its flight attendants rejected its wage offer. Last month, flight attendants defied Ottawa's back-to-work legislation, forcing the employer back to the bargaining table where a tentative deal was reached. This past weekend's union voting result means the wage dispute is now in the hands of mediation as workers cannot take further legal strike action. Air Canada and the union agree there will be no strike or lockout and flights will continue to operate as scheduled. Well, in the Middle East, 6 people were killed in an attack at a bus stop in Jerusalem today, and 12 others were injured. Israeli police say the 2 Palestinian attackers were from the West Bank and were shot dead at the scene by a soldier and an armed civilian. Israeli forces were pursuing suspects who aided them, and a suspect from East Jerusalem who was allegedly involved was arrested. The Israeli military is also encircling Palestinian villages near Ramallah in the occupied territory in response. Russia has launched another massive attack on Ukraine, and it's prompted Donald Trump to say there might be tougher sanctions on Russia. Over the weekend, Russia launched more than 800 drones and 13 missiles across Ukraine. One strike set fire to the main government building in Kyiv. At least 8 people were killed, including an infant. The Kremlin says any sanctions imposed by Western countries will not change its position on the war. There have been violent clashes in Nepal's capital of Kathmandu. At least 17 people were killed and another 150 injured. Protesters stormed the Parliament building and faced off against police. It began after police opened fire on people upset over a ban on certain social media platforms. The protesters say it's an attempt to silence critics of the government. In New Zealand, a fugitive on the run with his 3 young children has been shot and killed by police.
They are with police officers now and being removed from that location. I can confirm that the children are well and uninjured.
Tom Phillips was believed to be hiding in the wilderness with his children since 2021. He was being sought because he didn't have legal custody of his children. Phillips was spotted earlier today robbing a store and was killed in a shootout. The 3 children are now being returned to their mother. Back here in Manitoba, an Interlake pumpkin farmer says she's overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers after a social media post assembled a community-wide effort to save her crops. Melody Schwabe runs Schwabe Pumpkins in the Aram of St. Andrews. And after a damaging frost Friday morning, she posted an emotional video asking for help. Within hours, many people who she never met showed up to help harvest pumpkins before another frost hit. Some even brought food and drinks. Others came with their kids ready to work. Schwabe says she's still trying to find the words to express her gratitude.
seeing her raw emotion and her investment into her pumpkin patch and the desperate need for help and volunteers really pulled on my heartstrings. So we immediately decided that we were going to be coming today.
I'm just so grateful for everybody, and literally I'm blown away by the people that showed up. Like, you know, the sweetest people. Yeah, humans are pretty wonderful.
Schwabe now says she hopes to find ways to give back to the community that rallied around her.
I match it the best I can based on what I see.
An extreme makeover for the Bears on Broadway. How a local artist is refreshing the iconic outdoor art project.
And while the sunshine will give way to some rain midweek, those above seasonal temperatures are kicking around. I'll have your full complete Skywatch forecast coming up.
The city wants to fine builders who don't plant enough trees in their developments. In a new report before City Hall, administrators suggest establishing a public tree fee. Developers who can't meet the tree planting requirements in zoning bylaws would be charged $1,000 per tree not planted. The money would be used to help the city acquire plantable space, trees, and initiatives to get them planted. The report says the city will have to explore if it has the legal authority to impose such a fee. It will be discussed at the next Property and Development Committee hearing. And if another report is adopted by city councillors, Graham Avenue could become the hub of a new geothermal energy system. City administrators say the recent closure of several blocks to traffic could allow it to become the home for a new ground source district thermal energy system. They're recommending Winnipeg take $400,000 in grants from Efficiency Manitoba and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to study the idea. A North Kildonan sports facility may soon be named after a late basketball player. The East Kildonan Transcona Community Committee has voted to name the new basketball courts at Gateway Recreation Centre the Chad Posthumous Memorial Court. The Winnipeg-born player played professional basketball for 10 years. His career took him to Japan and Argentina and the Canadian men's national basketball team. Posthumous was also the first captain of the Winnipeg Sea Bears. He died of a brain aneurysm in November of 2024 at just 33 years old. The motion still needs City Council approval. If you drove around Winnipeg, you might have seen some painted concrete bears. They're known as the Bears on Broadway, and the passage of time has not been kind to many of them. But as CTV's Harrison Shin shows you, one local artist is bringing the bears back to life.
Meet Rachel Lancaster, the muralist bringing concrete bears back to life.
It's like bringing art history to life again. It's keeping it alive.
In 2005, 67 concrete bears were created and displayed on Broadway as a fundraiser for Cancer Care Manitoba. Today, they are scattered across the province.
They were auctioned off for charity for cancer care. And back then, once they were cast, there was artists that were hired to paint them in all different ways.
The bears are made of cast concrete, and time hasn't been kind to them.
The original first bear that I was asked to paint was a blue bomber bear. That bear was in rough condition. It needed some structural repair, like the concrete needed to be replaced and whatnot.
So she brought her paint can and brushes and repainted. The news got to the original artist, Hubert Theroux, through his daughter.
She says, yeah, somebody restored your bears. It's Rachel. And so I went online and looked at her job, and I said, wow, she did a good job.
Then Theroux made the connection with Lancaster.
I phoned her, and she was glad that I got in touch with me. And we had a long, pleasant conversation.
He also gave me a lot of tips on how to do it. He told me about different primers that he used. And so, yeah, it was a very long conversation, and I was very, very grateful for it.
And she's hopeful she'll get the chance to work on more of the bears.
Typically what I do every day is I paint murals. I'm happy to do that, but I hope more bears are in my future as well.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Daniel Hammerson is back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. Clouds have rolled in tonight, but plenty of sunshine in the forecast this week.
Yeah, and those clouds are expected to clear overnight. We could see some fog developing over much of southern Manitoba, but giving way to plenty of sunshine midweek. As we take a look at the futurecast here, over the next few hours, as I mentioned, clearing for the most part, fog patches throughout the south. So if you're heading out early in the morning, keep in mind you could be driving in a little foggy weather, but that should clear, give way to plenty of sunshine throughout most of the province over the next 48 hours or so. I know earlier we heard about frost and those pumpkins. Not much to worry about, at least for a few days. The nighttime lows actually above average as well. So shaping up to be a beautiful week here in Manitoba, though we will see some rain later Thursday, Friday, but giving way to plenty of beautiful sunshine again over the weekend. Here tonight in Winnipeg, dipping down to 10, clearing with light winds. Much of the same in the morning. That fog could play a little bit of a factor, but clearing fairly early. The wind staying nice and light. High of 13 in the morning, and in the afternoon 24, mainly sunny. Wind out of the north at 10 kilometers per hour, but can't complain about that for the second week of September. The UV, though, high, 6 or high, so if you're heading out, make sure you're taking those necessary precautions. Now taking a look around the province tonight, chance of some showers out in Gillam, 6 degrees in Thompson. Mainly partly cloudy skies, rather, throughout the region tomorrow. Over in the northwest, Lynn Lake, 1 degree tonight, but 16 tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine through the northwest. To our west, could see some of that fog tonight from Swan River down through Brandon, but picking up 26 tomorrow in parts of West Manitoba. Here in Winnipeg and the rest of the capital region, hovering around 8, 9, 10 degrees tonight, and plenty of sunshine tomorrow. And to our east, out in Ontario, Fort Frances could see a few rain showers tonight, but picking up to high of 22 tomorrow. Again, plenty of sunshine on the way. And our first Skywatch pick of the day comes from Beverly McLean out in Carman of that blood moon last night. Check that one out. And our second photo, all the way from Falcon Lake, Cindy Shields, look at that fog coming off of the water. Keep those pictures coming. You can send them to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Ultra processed and ultra bad for you. What researchers have discovered about the impact of these foods on men in particular.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Doctors are calling for restrictions on sports betting ads, warning they're setting youth up for a future of problem gambling. An editorial published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal says youth are being inundated with these ads. And joining me now to talk more about the risk they pose is editor and family physician Dr. Shannon Charlebois. Good to speak with you.
Thanks for having me.
First, can you give us an idea of just how frequently youth are seeing betting ads these days?
Sure. So, for example, the University of Bristol in the UK looked at the final game of the NHL series this year between the Panthers and the Oilers, and they found that on average, every 13 seconds, viewers were presented with either an advertisement of gambling, an image of the gambling company logo, or a similar sort of messaging every 13 seconds. So we are raising our kids in an environment where sports and gambling are the exact same thing. And children have no way of distinguishing the difference. It's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, it's on the jerseys, it's on the playing fields, it's sponsored segments, and then there's no restrictions on how many ads.
How vulnerable are youth in particular to ads like this, and at how young?
So right now what we're looking at is there's no lower limit on age because the adolescent, the child brain is just growing all the time. But when we're speaking about the actual harms being felt already by our adolescents, adolescents are evolutionarily engineered to take risks, to prioritize rising in social class for financial gain, for social status. And the gambling ads are things that strive to appeal just to that. There's also the celebrity stars, celebrity athletes, other celebrities presenting this content to them, and they're very vulnerable to sort of their heroes giving this messaging. And we're already seeing adolescents, even in 2019, before Canada legalized single-game sports betting, 4% of Canadian adolescents in Ontario were already having moderate to severe problems due to gambling. So we're looking at things like financial consequences, legal problems. Gambling is directly linked to depression, anxiety, and suicidality. In a study of 16 to 24-year-olds in the UK, within the 16 to 24 age group, gambling addiction increases the risk of suicidal ideation by 9-fold in 16 to 24-year-olds. But we're seeing this throughout Canadian adolescents, and that trend will only continue to worsen because now their smartphones are a platform for betting 24 hours a day. Kids are already doing this. This is not a problem that we're anticipating coming. What we're anticipating is it becoming exponentially worse and it destroying the lives of youth and those they love.
You know, given these, very serious consequences you're bringing up, what sort of restrictions would you like to see put in place?
I would like to see the advertisement for this harmful behavior not put anywhere where minors are going to see it. If we are putting this on our national sports broadcasts before the hour of, let's say, 9 p.m., we're allowing these companies to directly market a harmful behavior and addictive behavior to minors. So certainly from whistle to whistle, there should be no gambling advertisement available for viewership of any sports broadcast. Personally, of course, I would do away with it altogether, but I don't think I'll get my wish there.
Any advice for parents worried right now?
So I think the parents need to understand how dire this situation is and have an open dialogue with their children. Because it's so intertwined with gaming, parents need to really understand that they have to explain the difference between a harmful behavior and regular spectatorship. Because these kids who have been raised since sports betting was legalized in 2021 simply don't know that this is not a normal part of sports broadcasting. As with any parent, we want, of a teenager, we want to make sure that we know what that teenager is doing with their time as much as we can while letting them have some autonomy. It's a difficult thing to negotiate, but warning signs would be if suddenly there is an increased need for money, if there's an increase in behaviors like theft. But with teens, we're always looking out for anything they're vulnerable to, including drug use, alcohol use. This is the same thing. It's just become mainstream. We got rid of cigarette ads. We got rid of alcohol ads during these games. We can get rid of gambling ads too.
An important conversation. Dr. Charlebois, thanks for having it with us tonight.
So much.
Participants at this year's Ovarian Cancer Walk of Hope in Winnipeg left feeling more hopeful than ever thanks to a big announcement from the province. The more than 400 walkers at Kildonan Park Sunday had a little extra bounce in their step thanks to a $1 million funding announcement made by the health minister. The money will be used to support research right here in Manitoba, and Cancer Care Manitoba says it will help to position our province towards a leadership role in women's health.
What that means is that now what we'll put together is an independent panel that will review grant applications from the research in the province to try to get those funds to be spent on the most impactful research for women in the province of Manitoba. It shows that the efforts that people have putting forward are really making an impact here within the province.
Organizers hope the funding will lead to better testing, treatment, and awareness since ovarian cancer outcomes have not improved in more than 50 years, and the symptoms are hard to detect. This year marked the 22nd annual Walk of Hope in Winnipeg. Participants raised more than $80,000 in donations. New research has found ultra-processed foods may harm young men's hearts and reproductive health even if they don't eat more calories. Ultra-processed foods include things like frozen pizzas, chips, packaged snacks, sugary cereals, and soft drinks. Here in Canada, they make up roughly half of the average person's diet. Even when calories were matched, the men in the study gained significantly more weight eating the ultra-processed diets, and their cholesterol levels worsened. The study was published in Cell Metabolism. Researchers are warning of a growing health threat as people turn to sugary drinks and ice cream to cool off. A joint team out of the U.S. and U.K. analyzed food purchases in the States between 2004 and 2019 and then compared the data to local weather and climate factors. They found for every extra degree, people consumed 0.47 grams of sugar more each day. Excess sugar in a person's diet is linked to health problems such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 36 grams of added sugar a day for men and 24 grams for women. A typical can of soda contains around 40 grams.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Don't dream it, be it, with a live stage performance of the Rocky Horror Picture Show this Halloween. Those details next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Led Zepp again, the premier tribute.
Well, this upcoming performance may make you quiver with anticipation. Local group The Dramatic Theatre Company is putting on a live performance of the Rocky Horror Picture Show for Halloween this year. It's to mark the cult classic's 50th anniversary. See what's on the slab during 3 shows between October 31st and November 2nd at the Asper Centre for Theatre and Film. Tickets are available at dramatictheatre.net. And the latest film in the top-grossing horror franchise of all time opened this weekend.
This thing in your house is a demon.
The Conjuring Last Rites opened on top with $83 million US across North America, the best debut ever for the massively popular horror franchise. Special screenings of the original Broadway production of Hamilton brought in $10 million for second place, while Weapons held on to its podium spot with another $5.4 million in ticket sales. Supertramp founder and longtime frontman Rick Davies has died at the age of 81. Davies and Roger Hodgson formed Supertramp in London back in 1970. Their breakthrough came in 1974 with the release of their seminal album, Crime of the Century. They hit their commercial peak in 1979 with the release of Breakfast in America and this song, Goodbye Stranger. Davies died Saturday after a long battle with multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer. And it was a big night for music at the MTV Video Music Awards, with Lady Gaga taking home Artist of the Year.
Thank you, Little Monsters, my fans, for always supporting me and always supporting the monster in me.
Other notable moments from the night, Ricky Martin performed and was awarded the first MTV Latin Icon Award. Ariana Grande won for Best Pop and Video of the Year. Alex Warren performed Ordinary and was named Best New Artist. Plus, there was a tribute to the late Ozzy Osbourne. And Mariah Carey performed a medley of her hits before accepting the MTV Video Vanguard Award. And the Venice Film Festival has awarded its top prize for the year.
Father, Mother, Sister, Brother by Jim Jarmusch.
In the end, that comedy drama anthology walked away with the coveted Golden Lion Prize. The film features an ensemble cast, including Cate Blanchett and Adam Driver. Many critics had predicted the top honor would go to Gaza war docudrama, The Voice of Hind Rajab. It received the second place Grand Jury Prize. And settle in with some Monday night football action. The Chicago Bears play host to the Minnesota Vikings beginning at 7 o'clock. It's all right here on CTV.
Banksy strikes again. What happened after his latest artwork appeared on the side of a courthouse?
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
A little cloudy out there, 21 degrees here in Winnipeg with light winds out of the south-southeast and much of the same expected throughout the night. And we actually surpassed our projected high for today. We hit 23, which is above the seasonal average. Little below what we saw last year, but those above seasonal temperatures are going to last throughout the rest of the week, even with a little bit of rain in the middle there.
Thanks, Danny. The latest artwork by elusive street artist Banksy was seen at the Royal Courts of Justice in London this morning. Check it out. As per tradition, the reclusive artist posted pictures of the mural to his social media accounts. It depicts a judge in a traditional wig and robe beating a protester on the ground. The artwork has since been covered up with security guards posted on site. All right. Fall continues this week, it looks like.
Yeah, not a bad start to the week at least. And hopefully the sunshine we get to enjoy for a little bit longer.
Yes.
Hopefully the frost stays away, and of course the snow.
Yes to all of that. All right. That does it tonight. Have a great evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.